Hey, this is a introduction to 3D modeling. You should have by now already seen the introductions to 3ds Max as a whole, so getting used to the user interface and how to, basic manipulation, I guess, of objects like rotate, scale, etc. Now we're going to be moving forward in using one of those simple shapes like a box and creating an object from it. Now these skills that you're going to be learning are going to be the fundamental skills that will help you, no matter what level, what object you're making, some of these skills will come in handy. So it's really good to kind of, pay attention and make sure you really master these skills because they are the fundamental of, any kind of 3D model. So we're going to start then. We're going to go into our perspective view and we're going to create a box. So we're going to select box in this side panel just here and just draw out a simple box. Don't worry about being too accurate at this stage. So draw it out using that left mouse button, just holding it down and dragging. Then release it, push the mouse up and click. And that will set you your box. From that stage, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the color of this box. So just go into my modify tab just on the top just here. I'm going to select this color box just there. I'm going to set it a little darker. The reason I'm doing it is so it's easier for you to see the edges, because if it was a really light color, something like this, it would be really maybe a little bit hard for you to see those edges. So I'm going to make sure it's as easy as possible for you guys to see the edges, and that's really important so you know where I'm placing them and how to manipulate them and where to, where they are basically. If your viewport is showing selection brackets and no edges, what you need to do is just right click on this plus in your perspective view in the top corner, go to configure, and the three options are ensuring you have edge faces selected. Sorry, it's two options, not three. So ensure edge faces is selected, and then you're going to deselect show selection brackets. So yours might be already selected, so make sure that is off, and then just press OK. And then you'll have a similar view to mine where you can see the edges and it's really clean. And that's really how you want it. Before you start modeling anything, you should probably set those settings up right. Otherwise it just gets annoying. Anyway, so moving on now. So we need to convert this box and apply a edit mesh to it to create a spaceship. So again, we're going to start making this spaceship really simply, and we're going to use edit mesh. So in your modify list just here, you're going to go to edit mesh, go to polygon, select one side, and then using Alt and the middle mouse button to rotate around, or this little gizmo here if that's what you prefer, and then holding Control and clicking on the other side, the opposite side, it's going to allow you to select both. Yeah, so holding Control lets you select more than one face at one time. Once that's done, you want to kind of view it from a front-on angle, but not completely flat, like that. You're going to go to extrude, and you're going to click and hold the mouse button down. So it doesn't matter whether you click on the bottom arrow here or the top one on the side of extrude. See how that's going in? But then if I keep the mouse button held and just move the mouse up and down, it gives me like a free. It gives me the freedom, I guess, to extrude this as much as I want without having to fiddle and click just to make it more and more. Be careful, like I was mentioning, not to click many times, because if I just zoom in on one of these edges, if I click extrude, click extrude, click extrude, click extrude, it's extruding it one bit at a time, and we don't want that. We don't want these little mini extrusions, because that's going to mean you don't have a clean model. So make sure when you extrude, make sure it's as clean as possible. So you're going to be clicking on the arrow and holding the mouse down and then just dragging the mouse up. You have one clean extrusion. So once you've got that, looks like three boxes on the side beside each other, you're going to go to bevel, and you're going to bevel that down like so. I could bevel it up and it'd be like that, but I want to bevel that down slightly so it arcs in. Next, I'm going to select this side, this front panel, and then holding Control again, I'm going to select that side there. I'm going to extrude this time by only selecting it, clicking once. So I do want to do that now, and I'll explain why in a moment. So just click on the up arrow once, and if we kind of zoom in, you'll see there's a little tiny extrusion just there. and then bevel down, and that's going to give you this kind of border, this outline, where we can then extrude in. So click and hold on the extrude icon and then drag down, and then you see how we're pulling that in, kind of like a vent system of some sort, or of a thruster, if you want it to be a thruster. And what's important here is if you look in your top view, so just go over here, and in your side view, you can see how far back this is going. So it's always important to have a look in all your viewports to make sure it's not going to cut through your model and end up coming out the back. Let me give you an example, like so. Yes, it looks okay, but we don't want that, because that would cause glitches if you were ever to put this object in the game. So we want it to be quite clean and going through, so it doesn't cut through the back of the model. So once that's done, we're going to select this front panel here. We're going to extrude this like so, bevel it down, extrude again, bevel down again, and if you wanted to, you could do it one more time, bevel down. Now what this is doing is, this is going to allow us to create this front kind of cockpit area of the ship. I know currently it looks a bit like pointy, but I am going to modify it a little bit by going into vertex. So I'm going to click onto vertex just here. I'm going to then, in my side view, so go to my left view, we're going to click and drag over that vertex point just here. So that's this one. Now it's important to click and drag because there's actually 2 points. If I go in this view here, you've got one directly behind the other one, there and there. Yeah, so we don't want to just click once, because that's only going to select one, like so. It's not selected in both. So make sure you click in an empty space and drag the mouse. So you have this selection box over that point. And then you'll have both selected. Then we're going to go to the move tool, which is just up here. And again, if you followed my earlier tutorials, you would know where this is. So you want to select that. I'm going to drag this down slightly so it's flat. I'm going to then click and drag over the whole of this front nose area so they're all selected. I'm going to drag this down like so. Then I'm going to click and drag over just the end there and pull that down like so. And in fact what I'll do is I'll click and drag over this area and pull this down as well, so it's kind of more arced down. Possibly pull that up slightly. So then we've got something looking a little different. Next we're going to be going on to the back, so we're going to create this back thruster. Now you can do this in many ways, and again this spaceship is, I'm just showing you how to make a really simple spaceship. Using these skills you can go in and experiment, make different versions. I would encourage you to make 5 or 6 different ones, and by the end of that you would be really accomplished in using these techniques like extrude, bevel, vertex, etc. So you could select them all if you wanted to. You could extrude back slightly, bevel in, so you've got this kind of long thruster at the back. Or you could just select the middle, which is what I'm going to do. We're going to extrude that out quite far, bevel that in like so. In fact, let me push that back a little, and then we're going to do the same technique we did just here for these vents to create this back thruster. So we're going to extrude by clicking just this up arrow once, so just click, see that little extrusion. Then we're going to bevel down and then extrude in. And again, look in your top view and your side view so you don't go too far. So a decent amount, like so. Now what we're going to do is create wings. So we're going to select the panel just there, then rotate around and hold control, select that panel. Next I'm going to tap on that extrude icon again, the up arrow, bevel down. Can you notice how it's being beveled as a square? We don't want the wings to be that thick. We want them to be quite thin and aerodynamic, much like an aeroplane. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bevel this down to a certain degree like so it's got a little border around it, and then I'm going to go onto my scale tool, which is just here. So select and uniform scale, And then I'm going to drag on this Z-axis just here, so hover over it and then drag it down so it thins it out like so. And you'll notice that it's done it on both sides, that side and that side. And once that's done, you're going to extrude out once, maybe twice if you wanted to as well. And you could bevel it again slightly if you wanted to as well, just to make it a little thinner. Don't go too far with the bevel because it will start to distort if you overlap it and go into minus figures. So be really kind of careful with the amount that you're beveling. Again, we're going to go into our vertex tool, our vertex selection tool. We're going to go to the move tool. And what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to use the top view. So in the top view, I'm going to click and drag over the ends of the wings, and I'm going to pull them back. And you can see in your perspective view that it's changing. So I'm going to pull that back a little bit, like so. And then I'm going to go over, select over just the outside edge, and then drag it back again. So you've got this kind of archy wing going on. One last thing I'm going to do is select this poly on the top, and using the same method by clicking on the extrude arrow once, beveling in slightly, using that scale tool just to drag it in, then extrude up a couple of times. So I'm going to extrude once and extrude up again. Go onto my move tool, go onto vertex just here, and then in my side view I'm going to click and drag over the area that I want to push back, and then just on this part just there, pull it back. And maybe down a little. So that is a very, very quick and very simple method to create a spaceship. I know, it may have taken a little while to do this tutorial, but this is the first go, and as soon as you start getting used to it, honestly, I do recommend that you go and create maybe 5 different variations of this. You may think tedious, but you should be excited and thinking, wow, I want to improve and make as unique a spaceship in this particular case as possible. And by the end of making 5 or more or 3, everyone learns at different paces, so you may need maybe 5, maybe 10, but at the end of it, you will be able to create a spaceship like this in probably, I don't know, a couple of minutes. You should really time yourself and say how quick can you make it, and push yourself, because obviously speed is the key if you want to get into the games industry. You have to be able to create high quality models at a very good speed as well. So that concludes this tutorial on how to make a very simple spaceship using extrude, bevel, etc. And move on to the next tutorial, and again I'll be showing you some useful tips on how you can improve your basic 3D modeling knowledge.